Welcome to OC Life, episode 3, where we turn your life into a message. This is episode 3, OC Life. Hope you didn't miss us last week, but we got a whole bunch of content coming out this week. Right here, we have our co-host, Jarvis Elder. He is a phenomenal man. He is my godson. He is the world, means the world to me. But I'll tell you this, we've got a lot of great things coming up this week. And today is the first Wednesday of the month, which is Black and White Wednesday. So we will wear black and white for the first Wednesday of every month, which is Tell the Truth Wednesday, as well as we will get into a lot of things where we will talk about some deep stuff. And we'll tell you right now, we missed you last week, but definitely we'll pick up into this week. This is OC Life Podcast, episode 3, coming right at you right now. Please like and subscribe. All right, well, again, welcome to OC Life Podcast. I got my co-host here, Jarvis Elder. Once again, haven't seen you in a couple of weeks. So, man, what's been going on?
Man, just life, work, you know what I'm saying? Business and getting everything under control, man. Just been with the wife and everything. How about you, sir?
Man, it has been a busy week for me and the missus. We have definitely been going through so much. It's in a good way as far as trying to get things together in the house and just living life in general. Being retired is not easy. I think a lot of people think it's easy, but like you just sit at home and do nothing. But with the wife I have, absolutely not. So what we want to do right now is we missed you last week. We wanted to get some things squared away, and we did. And every Thursday or Friday, we will be dropping our content. So this podcast, episode 3, will be at you on Thursday evening sometime. And it's his responsibility. I'm throwing him under the bus right now. But I will tell you this. Today is Black and White Wednesday. And Black and White Wednesday is basically just like you read a book. Everything's in black and white. As well as it's Tell the Truth Wednesday. So we're going to dig into some things. The audience has heard a lot about you, where you're from, and they will get to know me. In terms of this, I will tell you that OC Life is a podcast where we will turn your life into a message. So let's get right into it. We got a couple of games this is his last ride, so we got a couple of games to get into. So 2 weeks ago, you played the Austin Vipers.
Yes, sir.
I'm on my phone, and I seen 6 to 7 for like 7 hours. What happened?
There's a lot of things, a lot of internal things happening to the team right now. We just got a lot of egos. It's our first year as a first-year team, so we got a lot of things that we have to work on. I mean, we had opportunities seven times in the red zone to score.
Wow.
To make it happen, get in the end zone, but we just had a lot of miscues, and we went up 9-7, but we took the field goal off and took the yards because they had a flag. They hit our kicker, so we just took the yards. Thought we was gonna get in the end zone, but it didn't happen.
So you really should have took the points.
We should have took the points, but
so hey, Coach Clark, trust your instinct, man. Just get the points, take it, lean on your defense, and everything else will go from there. So you played the Austin Vipers. Vipers only scored 7 points.
Yes, sir.
I thought we had an offensive problem last year.
Yeah.
Maybe it's this year too. But anyways, so we have the utmost confidence in you that you guys will bounce back. So we're going to speed up to the Central Texas Tigers lost to the Austin Vipers 7-6 2 weeks ago. So now Jarvis is going to catch us up to the Central Texas Tigers playing the Capital City Bisons. Coach Brown, shout out to you, head coach of the Bisons. What happened?
It's rough, man. Adversity hits. When adversity hits the team, man, it just keeps going. It's like rain. So I think we just gotta go back to the drawing board and just figure it out, man. Because adversity is always gonna come at you in life. And I think sometimes you have to just sit back and reflect on yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror and say, what am I not doing to help the team win? What things did I work on?
So would you say it's a coaching issue, player issue, or just a gelling issue? Because honestly, you guys are a new team, so you haven't had any type of adversity. You haven't built for any callus to go off of. So, what do you think, at being a veteran, what do you think is the key to you guys getting a win this week against the you guys playing the Yellow Jackets this week?
Yes, sir. They 0-3, but we 0-3 too, so you can't overlook any team. But
battle of the
0-3s.
Yeah, battle of the 0-3s. He said it, not me.
But I think we really have to take a step back and peel the tape off of ourselves and really look at ourselves and what little things do I have to work on to get better as a player.
Well, I'll tell you what, you may not want my feedback. Coach Clark, you may not want my feedback. DT may not want my feedback, but every team goes through trials and tribulations. Yes. I don't care if you're 3-0 or you're 0-3. The season is still young. You guys got a lot of time to figure it out. I'll tell you, I would have leaned on my defense. I don't think that, okay, first of all, I know Zach Bozier. I told y'all before in episode 2 or 1, I was 23-0 with Zach Bozier as offensive coordinator. Zach Bozier works very well under pressure in a system he knows. He doesn't know the Viper system yet. So I would have took the points. And I would lean on your defense. That number 47 linebacker, that guy's a monster.
Jermaine.
Yes. Jermaine, I'm giving you a shout out. Jermaine, I want you on OC Light Podcast next week. I want you here. Listen, Jarvis and I always share messages with each other every morning. Like I tell y'all, this is more than a coaching player relationship. It's a brotherhood. It's a father-sonhood. But listen to me. What you've done, you could have went to the Leander Wolfpack. Coach Mark would have took you in a heartbeat. You could have went back to the Austin Vipers. Why choose the Central Texas Tigers?
Because I'm home. You want to try to win one for your home team. Everybody say Killeen's got a bad rep. Mm-hmm. Every team that plays in Killeen, every team plays in Killeen, they always say it's a bad rep. So it's just I wanted to have an opportunity to try to make a difference. Be different.
So this is nothing different than LeBron James. If you would have put Kobe Bryant, which is your favorite player, if you put Kobe Bryant in a 76ers uniform, I think it changes the whole landmark of the NBA. You've been overshadowed by your humbleness. And so many people don't understand what I might mean by that because they haven't had the privilege to coach you. But if you had to look in this camera right now and talk to your team, what would you tell them?
I would say you got to be dogs, man. Everybody on the team has to be a dog. You have to be a dog. No matter the circumstances of the game, we down by 10, down by 20, or whatever the score may be, we have to stay locked in, stay keyed in, and handle the adversity. That's what I would say.
Well, we only have a 1-hour segment because you got to get home to your missus and, we all have duties that we have to fulfill. So we know the season's not over. You can easily turn this thing around and beat the same very teams that beat you. I think Coach Clark is figuring out his team. Coach Clark is a likable head coach. He is for his players. And you guys will ride for him. I think DT needs to get you the ball more. I think you guys should do a little bit more motioning, more shifting. I think what happens, and this is what irritates me about minor professional football or semi-pro football, is that what happens is that you just want to go basic because you guys don't practice all the time.
That's true.
You need to challenge your players, man. There's no reason why. I mean, what about lining up at running back and lining up in a direct snap and let teams know Jarvis Elder's going to get the ball. Stop me and beat me. And I guarantee you can beat anybody in the league from point A to point B. And I think it goes back to not being married to one thing. You know, and I feel that for you, it's guys are gonna double, triple team this guy. They ain't gonna kick to him. So anybody out there right now, can you please kick to number 5? But you're smart. You're not gonna do it because you know he's gonna take it back to the house. You gotta get creative with you. This is your last year. I'm gonna tell you, Bump not being outspoken. I think you need to sit down and talk to your players, your staff. This man wants dogs. This guy's a dog. You put him on any team, they win. And I'm not just saying this as a biased comment. I'm saying it because he's a dog. Anytime you travel 5 hours from Odessa, Texas to Lampasas, from Lampasas to Austin, from Austin back to Killeen, Killeen to Lampasas, you're a dog. This is the bottom line. And you deserve better. But I challenge you to be that alpha that you don't like to be and will this team, like Kobe said, job not finished. Let your team know the job's not finished. That, hey, you may be 0-3, but, hey, everybody's got a runoff game. I think you guys are going to win this game big. I think DT, this is his time to do some things that he kind of wants to do. You guys are a dangerous team. You got a great kicker in Numa. You guys got a great defense, like you said. I'm calling out the Central Texas Tigers right now to man up and to stop making excuses and get the job done. You guys got superior athletes, just like the Woodpack, just like the Vipers, just like the Bisons. You guys got to play team ball. So, going into Central Texas Tigers, before we get into anything else, what's your mentality this week?
This week, I want to talk to the team tomorrow at practice. I'm going to talk to the team and let them know, you know, we gotta be a different team. Like, you know what I'm saying? We got one game this week, and the next week we have a bye week. So it would be good to get a win this week to get some momentum going. Next week, you know, get some practices in and then ride into the sunset because, you know, we got back-to-back battles. We got the Wolfpack after that. We got the Vipers again. So we got to be really locked in and getting ready.
So you guys are battle tested.
Yes.
And I don't think it's a matter of intimidation. I think it's a matter of you guys just figuring it out. If you're owner, own. If you're a player, play. If you're a coach, coach. That's what it all comes down to. And I think that for you guys can easily end up 3-3. I will guarantee you guys won't lose this game. I say if you guys focus more on togetherness as a team, that Leander Woodpack, you guys came back against the Woodpack. Woodpack is no slouch, but in the Vipers, you guys lost by a decision of keeping the points versus a field goal. So, trust your defense. I think you guys need to trust your defense. And it's very easy to be a Monday night quarterback and say whatever needs to happen. You know, I've been there, done that. But I'm going to tell you good luck this upcoming week. But I'm calling out the Central Texas Tigers right now. Some of you may know me, some of you may not, but I'm going to tell you guys right now, I think that you guys should not let the outside noise come into your culture. You guys are building something. You guys got what it takes. You guys got an elite defense. Stop bickering with each other like all these Bush League semi-pro teams and come together with a game plan. And I'm calling out the defensive coaching staff. Coach these players. Players want to be coached. They don't want to be baby. All right, I'm done on my rant. We're going to transition into, there's a lot of viewers out there. I really hope you guys like and subscribe. But before we get into, it's a brand new podcast, so before we get into everything, I think the audience kind of knew you. They knew what you were about. And I guess you guys know nothing about me. So I love the deep, tough questions. So I'm going to turn this thing over to this guy, and he's going to take over, but we're going to keep it interesting. I love the comeback by Kansas.
Yes, sir.
16-point deficit, guys. Central Texas Tigers, Kansas Jayhawks are champions because they didn't give up.
They didn't give up.
You guys don't give up, man. I mean, don't give up. I think you guys got it. I feel like God is all over this. I feel like God is calling you out right now.
I think so too.
I think he's calling you. I think he's calling you out of your comfort zone. You said this is your last ride, right?
Yes, this is my last ride.
So if the Wolfpack offer you a great deal next year, you're gonna go?
No, I'm not.
All right. Well, this is his last ride. So after you guys play the Central Texas Yellow Jackets, who do you have next?
I think we have the Ravens, the San Antonio Ravens.
All right, you better get revenge on those guys.
Yes, we owe them.
You traveling down to San Antonio?
We travel to San Antonio.
After this week, the Central Texas Tigers will travel to San Antonio.
After the bye week.
After the bye week, they'll travel to San Antonio. So pick up your Tiger stripes and get down that highway. We understand the gas prices, but still get down there and support your Tigers. All right, man. Well, I know I used to be your coach, and we're family now. But go ahead and give it to me, whatever you want.
All right, we're here on the OC Life podcast. I'm Jarvis. So, Coach Owens, let me ask you a couple questions. When were you born? Where were you born?
So, I was born March 24th, 1978. I don't want to date myself. I don't look my age, by the way. I was born in Downers Grove, Illinois, at Good Samaritan Hospital. Nice suburban town in Illinois.
How long have you been coaching? Like I know coaching is your passion. So what made you get into coaching, and how long have you been coaching?
So I've been coaching since I was 22 years old. I'm 44, so 22 years. I started my coaching career at Harrison High School. Shout out to Sean Mitchell in Colorado Springs. He gave me my first opportunity. I was a young punk, by the way. And I actually got fired from my first coaching job because I didn't understand the difference between a player and a coach. I didn't know what a passing tree was. I didn't know anything. I thought I knew football, but I didn't. And I got into coaching because I was a better coach than a player. I was an average coach. And I love to motivate people. And I love philosophy. And I love to talk on the phone. And I love the text. And I love the FaceTime. And I love to do all the things that leads up into building something. And I felt that the biggest impact, even though I was in the military, the biggest impact to teach young men to become men was taking a shared interest, which was football, and being able to incorporate life skills in the process. And then shaking that bag up and seeing what comes out of it.
So you said you got fired. So what have you learned from that situation? Like what have got you to where you at now as a coach?
Well, I got fired, and I'm gonna be very brutally honest. I got fired because I got into a disagreement with Coach Mark Brown III. He was a practice squad player off of the Seattle Seahawks. Very accomplished coach. And I wanted everything my way. I didn't know the difference between what a positional coach was versus an assistant to assistant coach was. And we were playing Rifle, Colorado, and we were the Harrison Panthers in Colorado Springs. And we got in disagreement on the sideline during the game. And, emotions are already high during the game. And I felt like one thing should be done. He felt like the other. But it was more so me and him and my immaturity. And after the game was over, I think we lost the game. And coach called me in and said, basically in a nice way, hey, I got fired. And what I learned from that was, if you're going to be a good coach, you have to take your emotions out of an emotional game. You have to have a sense of bulletproofness when it comes to players, refs, big plays. That is the difference between a veteran coach and an early stage coach.
I ask that because I see you have all the accolades around you, and I say that to say this: it doesn't matter if in life. It doesn't matter if you fail. You're always going to fail in life, but at the end of the day, you still can succeed after you fail in life. That's the way I look at that.
Yeah.
And so the question I got to ask you now is: I see you have a beautiful wife, Miss Tanya Walker Owens. Mm-hmm. You've been married for a minute now. You have so many stories you taught me about your kids and being married, and always saying married to one woman. Yeah. Make sure you have a baby with just one woman and not multiple women. Yeah. So just give us a background of your life with your marriage and everything.
Well, I will be very honest. I come from a background where my mom and dad were married for almost 50 years before they got divorced. That completely destroyed me. I was so used to the narrative of, I come from a two-parent background, two-parent home. Biologically, how many people now can say they came from the same mom and dad and they grew up, and so I was living off that dream. And then I ended up getting married young myself, and I was 19, she was 18, and we had 4 beautiful girls, and ended up in divorce. And after that time, kind of lack of love, wanted love. Ended up getting another relationship, getting married, getting divorced, and another relationship, getting married, getting divorced. Had a daughter. And, what I learned is that in order to fully be a successful husband, you must be rooted right. And I'm not saying my dad or mom didn't root me right. I'm saying that, your own self as a man, I have 3 sisters that are not married, and I have 1 sister that's married. So generationally, I wanted to be the one married for 40, 50 years and never depart. Well, that's not the plan that God had for me. So I have a total of 9 children, 7 girls, 2 boys. And then in our blended family, I have 8 girls, 3 boys. And, Tanya and I don't have children together, but, we don't use the word stepchildren. Those are our kids. And we were committed to marrying into. Tanya and I have been married for about 5 years now, and going on 6 years. And when I tell you the love of my life, I mean the love of my life. I would do anything for her. But I didn't get to where I'm at right now without a dark point in my life. And so when I went through my last relationship, ended up in divorce, I went into a closet. I was in an apartment complex right off of 46th Street off of Rancier. And I got in a small closet, and I broke down, and I told God, I said, take away everything. Take away my sex drive, take away my love for women, take away it all. Build me up as a man first. And then I prayed. I said, I would love a woman from Florida. Tanya's from Orlando. I want a woman that was strong. Tanya's very strong. I wanted a woman where I can share my life with, and we can buy a home with, and we've done that. So I would tell everybody out there, prayer works. So that's kind of like the quick background of me in terms of kind of where I came from. But I truly believe that without those past relationships, that ended up in divorce, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now.
That's amazing. That's an amazing story to hear. Oh, so I got a couple more questions for you. How do you feel knowing that sometimes we talked about it a couple weeks ago? You said you can't be with your kids, all of your kids. How do you feel about that? Not being able to have them, and the mom trying to push you away and say, oh, maybe telling your kids, oh, he's a bad dad. But at the end of the day, that you're a good father, that you are a right person.
Well, it bothers me, and I'll tell you why. My MO is being a dad. I'm a girl dad most of all. I got 3 boys, but I'm a girl dad. And I didn't really understand that term till Kobe, when all that stuff happened with him and everybody was talking about I'm a girl dad and all that. And I kind of sat back and I was just thinking about, man, I tell you all the time, you got to be careful who you lay with because you don't know what every woman's intention is. I'm not speaking bad about anybody or anything like that, but I'm saying that some people can't see you move on, and how I feel every day. It was bad. Like when Tanya and I got married, it was bad. I used to cry all the time. I was always, sad and upset. And, I used to see other men with their children and I was a borderline envious. And, it pains me because I found myself latching on to others that was like, man, coach, you a good dude. Or, man, how do you go through life like that? And I'm telling you, I've got so many sons. Out of all the players I've coached, I coach those guys hard, but those guys, some call me dad, pops. They may look at me as a father figure, and I latched on to those guys and gals because what my biological kids should have gotten me, their mothers didn't teach them that. And right now I have my youngest, which is Royalty. Her mom is very, very, very into her and I connecting. So prayer does work because I actually am building something with the last one standing, which is Royalty. And I'll tell anybody out there right now, I tell you all the time, be careful who you have children with because you just don't know what people's intentions are. And this is not to knock anybody, but you just got to make sure you got that part of your life right. Because I don't want anyone to end up like me where, you're paying money out, child support and all that, but you don't want to just be a financial provider. You want to be able to be a dad. You want to be a father. And I think about it every day, but, having you in my life and different people in my life, it's kind of easy to kind of go through. But, sometimes I may say good morning, bro. Sometimes I may say good morning, son. It just depends on, how I'm feeling. But, I think I ultimately look at you as a son. So I advise you like that. And I just feel that for this point in my life, I think that God divinely orchestrated that because there was some immature times I had in my life where if I would have been that father to the kids, maybe I wouldn't have been as effective as a man. So I kind of take that with a grain of salt now. But definitely, I definitely do think about it every day. It does bother me, but not to the point to where I can't advise you 3,000,000% to make the right decision.
I say that to say this to people out there. I feel like when you have kids, when you bring kids into this world, you can't be selfish. The mothers, you can't be selfish and try to keep your kids away from the fathers because all fathers are not bad fathers. Yeah, they made mistakes in their past, but you got to be able to give them an opportunity to learn from their mistakes, and they grow. We all grow as humans. We all make mistakes in life. So you got to be able to come together, come to terms, and be able so he can see his children. So just like you're seeing the children, at the end of the day, he wants to be able to raise his child too.
I'll tell you one thing. When Tanya and I met, we were brutally honest with each other. Matter of fact, we were at the Panda Express off of Central Texas Way, and I got so tired of just going through relationship after relationship. And I got to the point where I said I was done with women. I wasn't getting married no more. I was going to go out there and I was going to date. I was going to do what I needed to do, but I wasn't going to commit and get married. And when she came into my life, I told her flat, I have 9 children. I got 7 girls, 2 boys. And if she wouldn't accepted me then, I would have been okay with it. She said, I got 2 kids. I said, oh, wow, we got 11 kids. 8 girls, 3 boys. And we made a pact that we were going to be brutally honest with each other. And one day she came to me, I think we were embarking on Mother's Day. And we came from the domain and we were riding down the domain and she just started crying. She's like, oh, I lost my, because her, my mother-in-law, she passed away. And she came to me and she was just sad and upset crying. And I took her to Red Lobster and she was crying in the air. She said, you don't know what it's like to lose a parent. And then I thought about myself and I was like, my kids don't even know what it's like, how cool I am, how laid back I am, how strict I am. But in the midst of being a strict parent, I understand what they don't understand. And so it's like, I think right now, women, their identity is their children. So they feel like if the child, male or female, son or daughter, goes with you, say as a man, they lose their identity. And the child's going to end up liking the mom or whoever's in the life, or the female, I'm sorry. But you know what? So many men have to go back and they have to accept every woman with every man or another woman. And in this day and age, I'm just being an equal opportunist. And to me, I feel that men really need to look at thinking with the right head. Men really need to look at thinking about their future and building it. When you marry someone, know what you're marrying. That's the bottom line to it. Because anybody can have a child with anybody. And I have paid an astronomical amount of child support. And I'm not going to name the figure, but it was a lot. But I will say this. I'm on a mission to save souls, and you're one of them. No, you don't have children right now. You and your lovely wife, Eunice, have a child now. But I'm saying, work it out. Do the right thing. Live your life. Go on vacations. Because once that child comes,
can't be selfish.
You can't be selfish no more. It can't be about you. It's about the child. And this is what people don't understand, man. And so when you asked me that question, it brought me back to, we got to learn from yesterday, man. And so it's to a point now where I'm numb to it, but I'm not numb enough to not advise you. And when you're in a blended family, you have responsibilities. And Tanya and I have a daughter, Marquita, and our goddaughter, Jay. Then we have you as a godson. We've adopted you as a godson. And we've adopted Eunice as a goddaughter. You guys have been phenomenal to us, Tanya and I. And we can't have children together. But what we can do, we can share our life experience, because she's been through a lot of stuff in her life. And maybe one day we can get her on and she can talk about her own life. But it's so much, it's a lot to do when you really care about people and you take on the role of a godparent or an uncle or an aunt. You don't realize you're that extension of parenthood. If your brother or sister pass away, you are the father. You are that person that is going to come in and take charge of that child's life. I don't think a lot of people understand that, man.
Good question. That was a good one. That's a good answer. In the beginning of the podcast, we was talking about adversity. Mr. Owens, he's been through a lot of adversity his whole life. He's taught me so many stories. He's taught me so many things. So some of the adversity that you've been through, like with your neck surgery and all that stuff, tell us a little bit about that. Like how did you cope through all that stuff?
Well,
to get to where you are now.
In 1999, I was stabbed. I was active duty in the Army. I was stabbed and got to an altercation, and it didn't end up in my favor. In 2009, I was a victim of an active shooter at Fort Bliss. I was shot 9 times. And then after that, I got to some, bad car accidents where God spared my life. And then the most recent thing was I had a life or death situation. And they pretty much found something here on my neck, and they said, hey, you got to get this taken care of. So in the midst of them finding one thing, they found something else. And I'm not the one to just live in a doctor for sympathy. And basically what ended up happening was I had to have a spinal decompression, and it was life or death. I ran so many miles in the military, trained so many days, ran so many miles, was that perfect body. I was shooting for that and being the number one soldier. That they told me that if I didn't get that surgery 2 years ago, it would be hard for me to walk right now, or I would be paralyzed. And so I had to make a tough choice. I had to get the surgery out of the neck brace for 16 weeks. And a lot of people don't know how heavy their neck is, but your neck is heavy. I still have struggles to this day with it. And, I look at Inky Johnson, how he has a paralyzed arm, but he's still fulfilling his calling. So I talked to a counselor of mine, and I was crying, and she said, unfortunately, Maurice, she was like, when you want to be a motivational speaker or you're a motivational speaker, sometimes, unfortunately, good things don't happen to you. Bad things happen. And I think God has called me to go through everything that I went through. And I wouldn't change anything for the world, because it would change who I am, who I aspire to be, and who I can possibly inspire.
That's a good message right there. With that being said, I think everybody, you don't want to take life for granted. You don't. When you wake up every day, take life with a grain of salt, and thank God each and every day that you were able to wake up, be able to walk, be able to talk, be able to see your kids, family, wife, nephews, sisters, everything. You want to make sure you never take life for granted.
Yeah, and I know we're probably got about 10 minutes left, if not less than that. We always will start this podcast with recapping your season, because this is your last ride. I couldn't have fulfilled this dream without you. This is something that I don't care. It ain't got to look like Eric Thomas. It ain't got to look like Inky Johnson. We're Coach Owens and Jarvis Elder. And we're going to make our own name of what God wants us to be, not what we want to be. And when we started this podcast, it was basically OC Life. I was an offensive coordinator, and I was like, well, damn, come into my life. It's pressure. And so in the midst of that, I realized, yes, I was an offensive coordinator, but I'm a husband, a father, I'm an uncle, I'm a son, I'm a cousin, I'm a military leader, I'm a confidant, I'm all these people. And I was like, man, OC Life. And somebody was like, what about FFA, Fired Football Coach Association? I'm like, I'm not John Gruden. Mm. I'm a trailblazer. I create my own path. And this is not me. This is what God wants. I always say, to God be the glory. And I know you're the same way. And one of the reasons why I chose you to be a co-host on this podcast is because me and you are built the same. Our mentality is win or go home every day. Even though it's January and we're lifting weights, it's game 7. And there's no schedule even put out. And we love the same player, Kobe Bryant. I love Kobe. Very big on Michael Jordan. I'm very big on LeBron James. I think Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, and Michael Jordan, I think those three are one of the 3 most insane athletes that can ever play this game. Not just basketball, but just in life in general. And although each one of them had their downfalls, I think LeBron James hit a downfall this year because the Lakers didn't make the play-in. And he had hands in the roster. But ultimately what I'm saying is that you know what defeat is, right? You know, me and you, we didn't even know each other. But everybody's like, why did you go to the Vipers? I'm like, you know what? I went to the Vipers because I was told that I was going to be the man in charge of the offense. Well, hey, those guys didn't buy in. I got it. But in the midst of it, guys said, hey, Maurice, there's this young man over there that's got some dreams and ambitions. I'm going to put you two together. Because without the Austin Vipers in that decision, I would have never met you.
It's true.
So, and we got to work intimately together. And so I got a chance to see you drive 5 hours from Odessa, working in an oil field. Then I got a chance to see you as a husband, providing for your wife and your family, even though she's back home and you're driving 5 hours to go back and forth. That's 10 hours. You know, calculate how many hours and how many miles you spent. And I'm like, man, this guy's built like me. And by the way, I never had favorites, but I will tell you right now, and I'll be very honest, you were one of my favorites because I coach hard, but I have compassion for guys that are like me. And so when all this happened, you know, we came up with this concept, and you were more computer savvy than me. I just kind of had the vision, and I just wanted to put the content out there. I wanted us to be on a platform where we can speak about so many walks of life, but before they can understand OC Life Podcast, they got to understand who you are, who I am, where we come from, what we do, and then we can dig into so many different things. Because I think people, I'm going to do a podcast. I want to make money off YouTube. We're not doing this for money. We're doing this because hopefully the 12 subscribers we have, hopefully we can get more subscribers after this. Forward, like and subscribe for this message. Hopefully we can touch one person per podcast to change their life, being a better father, breaking generational curses. You know, these are things that you spoke about. And so I feel like for you, what I wanted to ask you was, when you first initially seen me as a coach on the field, and I laid out the whole blueprint, offensive blueprint, what's the first thing that came to your mind?
You was a leader. See you as a leader. Your presence, the way you approached the game, the way you carried yourself, you was a leader. Like, I seen that you was a leader. You looked hardcore. You know, you was a tough guy. I mean, I knew that. But at the end of the day, that's on the outside. But on the inside, you was a good guy. You wanted to just make sure we had the right material to be able to be prepared to win games. Yeah.
So I'm gonna take you back to our last game that we had together. We played in the Leander Wolfpack. I think it was June 12th of last year. No, June 10th. June 10th or the 11th. One 12th. And we're in the locker room. Hank came in and he says, hey, Owens, we need to run the ball more. What was your thought?
My thought was, that's a bad owner. I think that's a bad owner. It's like a Jerry Jones. It's like, you're the owner. Let this man, you hired this man to be an office coordinator. Let this man do his job. Mm-hmm. The score was tied 14-14. Yeah. So it ain't like we're losing or anything. It's a tie game. Yeah. You had the game plan. You put the work in for that game. Each game we played. So I don't see why you took all the criticism for the season.
Yeah. They always say God gives his hardest battles to his toughest soldiers. And that's my answer to your question. I will be back. I don't know what God has, but I know that through a lot of prayer, talking to Tanya, you advising me on what direction we need to go, what I should do. We'll be back. We'll be back at it. I just feel like in this life of social media, I've had people call me and tell me people said a lot of bad things about me. And I want to look in this camera right now. I want to say something and I ain't going to call your name out, but you know who you are. Specific players that want to question my character. God bless you. Because what goes around comes around. And you're going to be put in a position one day. Maybe it's not football. Maybe it's life in general. But Nick Saban said it the best. He said, if you want everybody to like you, go sell ice cream.
Good quote.
And I'm not in it to be liked. This day and age, and I'll be honest with you, I would have never survived that season without you. And that meant the most to me than anything. If you really want to find somebody true in your life, go through some of the toughest times in your life. Coaching, life, family, marriage, children, whatever. Look at the people you have around you that are not going to judge you, but are going to still be there for you and love you as if it never happened. And I think that we live in a world of insensitivity. And I feel that for you, before we close down this podcast, my advice to you for the rest of the season, I'll be very brutally honest. I wanted you to go to Leander Woodpack. You know why? Not as a bandwagon jumper, but you deserve a ring on your last ride. I know Mark Rogers. I know Donovan. Mark was my defensive coordinator with the Cedar Park, Texas Punishers. Mm-hmm. And then Donovan was my O-line coach. And so, with that being said, I just felt that if this is your last ride, why not go out a winner? And I know your take on it, and I respect that. But when you get as close as you are, as I am to you, sometimes you have a tendency to say, forget their morals and values. I want to see this guy hold up a trophy. Because that would solidify the hard work that you put in. And you're now with the Central Texas Tigers. Your loyalty to Coach Clark is phenomenal. Not many players do that. But I will say this. I feel that God is putting you on notice right now. He's about to put you in a position where you are the leader of that team. And you guys are losing, and it's all your fault. Because you are not embracing the role that God has for you. And it's leaving out a leader. Every leader doesn't win. But they win because their intent is to win. Mm. I'm going to say it again. Every leader doesn't win. But their intent is to win. And as long as your intention is to win, you got to rather the truth and let them know, hey guys, we're just 3 games in. There's 4, 5, 6 more games after this. And you got the playoffs. Pretty much everybody in the BSFL will make the playoffs. There's not enough teams to go around.
Just got to be like the Giants.
Look at the Giants.
When they beat the Patriots.
They went through. They played in Lambeau Field, frozen tundra. They shocked the world. They went on to the championship against a what?
Undefeated Patriots.
An undefeated Patriots team. And all you got to do is be better for that day. So, as we get ready to close, my question for you is this. How do you personally want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered by just giving everything God has given me, all the gifts that God has given me. I want to be remembered by touching people's lives, giving them, wisdom, just like, all the older elders have given me the wisdom. I want to be able to, leave back my last name to my kids, when they bring up elder, people will be like, man, that dude was a good man. That man helped me out. Yeah. He gave me his shirt off his back. Yeah. That's how I want to be remembered. I want to leave my kids and their kids with generational wealth, life, wisdom, and they can carry on my name and have all the everything the abilities in them that I instill in them. They can pass it on to other people.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna say this, and we're at the end of our podcast. We might have ran a little bit over. Today is the first Wednesday of the month, I think, right?
Yes, sir.
Which is Black and White Wednesday, which is Tell the Truth Wednesday. And, we've definitely sat back here and we have told a lot of truths. And we've kind of uncovered some of the things that, you didn't know about me, or kind of how I felt about family and how I felt about you. But I always tell anybody, look, we're not Tom Brady and Eric Thomas. We're Jarvis Elder and Coach Maurice Owens. So when you like and subscribe to this podcast, don't look at how it's set up. Listen to the message in it. Listen to the truth in it. Bill Cosby said it best. He said, the quickest way to unhappiness is to trying to please everybody. To be a real leader, you got to trust God first and trust the plan that He's allowed you to formulate. And I'm going to tell you, I know you're going to win this week. Not just because it's the Yellow Jackets. I think that you guys are going to turn this thing around. But I challenge you to make sure you let your team know that you're not just saying give it out on the field. You are the example. Whether they put you on defense, offense, special teams, water boy, coach, whatever it is, you got to go out like God had you come in, a tough warrior.
Yes, sir.
So this is OC Life. This is podcast 3, episode 3. This is Black and White Wednesday, our first week of the month. And we love you guys, and we hope you guys like and subscribe. Don't get caught up in the name. But this is OC Life, co-host Jarvis Elder, where we turn our life into a message. And we want to say, God bless.